I'm Mother Eartha. I tell stories and I talk about stuff. Now, today, someone close to me who's been doing this with their grandkids for years wants me to share a really fun craft you can do on your vacation that will be a nice way to remember your time at the beach. That is, if you go to the beach on your vacation. So, let's get started. First of all, you need some kids and a sandy beach. Then you need some plaster of Paris that you can find at most hardware stores, or some of that newfangled craft plaster you can find at a craft store. Now, you'll need at least 2 plastic buckets, a shovel or something else to stir with, and a measuring cup. You want to bring a bag of seashells with you in case the beach you're going to doesn't really have shells. You know, some beaches don't. You can get these shells at the same craft store where you got the plaster. Okay, so you set up your spot, and you need soft, loose sand to do this. My friend suggests you need a good umbrella for shade and a soft blanket to sit on. And then, if there are shells to be found, you send the kids out to get a handful each. If not, then you can use the one you brought. So first thing, you smooth out a small depression about an inch deep in the sand. That's going to be just big enough to hold a footprint and a few shells. You don't want it to be too big. Then you let the kids, one at a time, step into the depression, leaving a footprint. They can decorate around the print with shells. Now remember, this is making a reverse print, so whatever side of the shell you want to show should go down into the sand. And don't press the shell in too close to the print or it might disturb it and you'll have to start over again. But of course, if you mess up, you can always smooth out the sand and start over. Doesn't matter how many times you do it, but when you get the print and the shells just like you want them, you have the kid go scoop up some water out of the surf in one of the buckets. Now you follow the directions, and the cautions of course, on your plaster container, and you mix together in the empty bucket. Now when the plaster is about the consistency of pudding, begin gently scooping into the middle of your footprint. Now you got to do this carefully so you don't disturb it. But you keep adding to the edges until all the shells are covered too. Then very gently smooth out the plaster. When it's all filled in, carefully push the outer edges of the sand into the plaster and then cover the plaster with the sand. And you gotta let it set up for about 30 minutes like this. It'll be kind of buried in the sand there, so you might want to protect it with maybe put something around it so nobody steps on it. An hour is a good amount of time to wait. Patience is a good thing. The sand cast is going to be pretty fragile and easy to break until it's cured, and even then it will need to be handled with care, like you would anything made of plaster. Now when it's ready, carefully brush away the sand, and even more carefully dig out the sand from under the edges until the plaster cast sort of moves a little bit, enough so you can slowly turn it over. It will be thick with sand, but as you brush it away, the footprint and the shells will start to show. Now let the sand cast air dry for another few minutes, the longer the better. So go play in the surf or something. Be sure to put a beach chair or something over your cast so no one accidentally steps on it. Now to transport the cast safely home, you can wrap it in a thick beach towel and put it in a sturdy bag, or a box if you got it, whatever. It takes another day for it to cure. Once it's fully set, you can pour a little water over it to remove the residual sand and make the footprint and shells show up better. But you don't want all the sand removed because, you know, it's a footprint in the sand. So, that's how you make a sandcast keepsake. It doesn't have to be a footprint. A hand or sometimes just arrange shells and driftwood into a work of art that brings the beach home with you. And if you can't go to the beach, you can still make your sandcast craft at home in the sandbox or just using a bag of play sand. Well, that's it. Hope you enjoy making yours.